boy, after watching episode 11, I thought, you know what, let's get it out of the way. Let's watch episode 12. It's very hard to find. A couple of you sent me a link, but when I went on the link, it didn't work. It just blocked me from watching it. I don't think it was like a takedown issue or anything. The video was there. It's just that my browser was saying, no, you can't watch it. I was like, what? But I found it somewhere else. I found a few versions, but none of them had English subtitles. I finally found one. I found one rogue one, and it was like in low quality, and the audio was always quite weird, and it was like a little square. It was like a full, when I put it full screen, it was like a little square in the middle. I'm just like, you know what? If this is the only English subtitled version I can find, I'll take it. So I watched it. Obviously, there's a bit of history behind this, and you can be sure to add more detail and tell me a bit more. So this is in relation to victims of the atomic bombs. So this episode is like a reference to Hibakusha. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but it's a reference to survivors of the atomic bombs of World War II, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, about the effects it had on victims, on like victims' bodies and stuff. And the kaiju, the alien, the monster of this episode is kind of based on them and based on this Hibakusha thing. So because of the sensitivity of it and because of a lot of outrage, I think about 3 years after it released, Subri apologized and banned the episode. I think early in Japan, but like they banned it completely. But obviously, some people managed to save the episode and managed to keep it up on some random websites. Obviously, you can't see it officially. But yeah, it's like, it was basically due to so there's me like reading off Google as well. Depiction of the villain alien spell, which resembled atomic bomb survivors. So there's something. This episode was considered insensitive and offensive to survivors of the bombings, known as Hibakusha. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm definitely not. Who are already facing discrimination at the time as well. So there's also that extra issue as well. Controversy arose because of alien spell's design, including keloid scars, direct reference to the physical appearance of Hibakusha. This sparked outrage, particularly after a trading card. So there was a trading card as well. That's insane. There was a trading card featuring the alien, and it was released with the name Alien Hibaku, A-bomb survivor alien, further implying the concerns. Damn, they made a trading card. It was fully like I'm speechless. I'm actually speechless after reading that part. I literally just found out for the first time just now. There was a trading card as well. It's on top of the episode that they made. But yeah, the rest of it's just about whether the version's available or not. So yeah, that's just me reading off like a tiny bit of research, because I wanted to look up like, where was it banned. Obviously, a couple of you have already explained some stuff to me in the comments as well when I first started reacting to Ultraseven. I think on episode 1 review, I think some of you guys already told me, and other videos as well. So yeah, now this review's finally here. You can be sure to add more detail down below. So the episode itself, storyline wise, was interesting. It was interesting. So this is about aliens that want blood. They need blood to survive, and they're targeting the blood of young women, or just, I don't know if it's young women. I think it's just women in general. Just women. They're targeting women's blood through watches. So they get watches on these women, and these watches drain blood from the women, and then the blood somehow transfers over to the aliens. That's how it works, basically. But then there's a part of the episode where, so Anne's got a friend, and Anne's friend is a lover. There's this guy, his name is Sataki. So Sataki is Anne's friend's potential husband or whatever, but it turns out he's suspicious. He gives her a watch. Not Anne, obviously, but he gives Anne's friend a watch. And then at one point, Anne's younger brother, who's just a kid, he takes the watch and wears it for himself. Then he collapses. So like, I've gone too far in the episode now. I've gone like halfway through the episode already. At the start of the episode, there's some women who start collapsing, and they're all wearing the same watch, and it turns out the watch is draining their blood, and it knocks them unconscious. They fall ill because they're losing blood. They're losing, I think, white blood cells. That's what it targets mainly. So yeah, there's a scene later on where Anne's friends, I keep saying Anne's friend because I can't remember her name. Anne's friend's brother, younger brother, he wears the watch, then he collapses at school. So that happens there. So because of that, one of the aliens realizes, wait a second, that's not a female's blood, that's a child's blood, and it's very pure. And they start to think, we don't need women's blood, we need children's blood. They now want children's blood. They're basically space vampires. Except they don't directly bite you. They just put a watch on you, and this watch drains the blood for them, and then they just take the blood. It's just like, they're space vampires with magic powers. It's basically what they are. There's a couple references to the atomic bombs in this episode, like even at the start, near the start, there's a reference about the bombs themselves, and basically a whole scene about keeping peace in the world, about how they want to avoid that, in the future. I didn't write down the exact subtitles, but basically they were talking about keeping peace in the world and thinking about the past of the atomic bombs. And I'm just like, okay, so they're already referencing the atomic bombs in the first 2 minutes. And it was already starting to be controversial. So the fact that they also introduced like this monster that was reminiscent of actual survivors is just insane. And then a trading card. Oh yeah. Some of the TDF members are talking about the symptoms of the women and their blood loss and why they were falling ill and stuff like that. And they were talking about how some of the symptoms were similar to effects of the A-bomb. So that was the second reference to the atomic bomb. So Anne starts to get suspicious of Sataki. She starts to get suspicious of her friend's potential husband or lover. She starts to realize, okay, Sataki knew about the watch. He knows a little bit too much. There's something up here. So she reports to the TDF, and they ask her to spy on him, and they send Dan as backup. So they see Sataki and Anne's friend, who I forgot the name of, sitting on a bench. And he switches, he takes a watch from her, then he switches the watch and gives her the blood draining watch. So Dan and Anne both witnesses, and then they go after them, of course, because they want to stop Sataki. I've actually not got that much many notes written down, to be fair, for this episode. But then you get the scene that I just mentioned about they're basically bathing in the blood. Then they realize that they got a kid's blood as well, and like it's more pure, so they need children's blood. So this scene happens around here towards the end of the episode. So they try to convince Anne's friend that Sataki is this space vampire, and she doesn't believe them. So Dan goes out of his way to prove to her that obviously that there's something seriously wrong with him, and he's not who he says he is. And obviously he's gonna kind of break her heart because that's a potential lover. But if he is an alien, then obviously he's not really a lover. So she had to see the truth for herself. Even I think before this, the monster appears. So yeah, I completely forgot a scene that I was going to talk about. But before this, the monster appears, and this is where you see the monster for the very first time. This is the very first time you see it, and it's very late in the episode. So they don't show it that much apart from the final battle, I guess. But they do show it, and I kind of not just from the look, but from the vibe of the whole episode. I can kind of I can very much see why there was a lot of outrage. I'm just like, okay, I get it. And it wasn't just the monster design, but just generally speaking, the whole theme of the episode. I kind of got that. I kind of get it. But it took 3 years as well. So most of the episode, I think is fine. Most of the episode is just actually a pretty good story about alien vampires trying to drain blood from people. That's a really crazy concept for a horror movie, that can actually work as a big movie. space vampires with magic powers. They drain your blood through your arms. It's actually quite creative. It's actually like apart from the atomic bomb stuff, it's actually quite a good story, and with some interesting plot lines and characters in there. So I thought that was quite interesting. But obviously, there's bigger, deeper context into it. But yeah, you see it for the first time, and the alien starts talking, and there's a lot of kids there as well. They start running away, and it talks about Spellium bomb that it wants to use and needing children's blood, just announcing it out loud. And then skip over to the very final scenes, and Anne's friend finally... So Dan shoots him. What's his official name? Alien Spell. Yes, Alien Spell. So Dan shoots Alien Spell, and then he turns into the monster again. And then Anne's friend finally sees that the man who she thought she liked is actually this huge, crazy alien who looks like something else, of course. So that obviously would have been terrifying for her. I thought one scene was really cool. So when Alien Spell shot some white rays out of his eyes up into the sky to attack. I thought that looked really cool. I thought that visually, like, remove the other aspects of the show, of the episode, visually I think it looked really cool. The way that was done was really cool. Also, the way the fight scene was filmed was very unique. Not sure I liked it, to be honest. Basically, it kept pausing and starting, and that wasn't like it wasn't like an issue with anything. It's just that was the style of the fight scene, just constantly stopping and starting, stopping and starting. I'm just like, I'm trying to see a fight scene here. I know it's like a specific style to, like, obviously they can experiment with different styles of fight scenes, but this style did not work for me, to be honest. The fight scene was very like stop start, and I don't feel like it was as fun as it could have been, as most fight scenes are in the show. But it was alright. And then there's this UFO that turns up. The TDF destroys it, and almost immediately after, Seven gets Ice Slugger because Alien Spell's trying to fly away, slices Alien Spell in half this way as well. Symmetrical. Ice Slugger just slices it, and it slices Alien Spell in half, and that's it. That's the episode. And at the end, there's like a 30 seconds of Anne's friend just being sad and throwing the watch into the ocean, into the sea, and just reminiscing. And you get this ending sad scene between Anne's friend and Dan, and that's the end of the episode. So, like, as a story, the episode was good, and there were some cool effects in there, especially when the alien fires the beams, and some interesting characters too. So as a story, I think it works, but obviously there's a whole deeper context behind it. So yeah, I get why. I really do get why, you know, it was banned at the time, especially because obviously it was only just over 2 decades after the end of World War II. Just like that, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of time. So it's also time sensitive too. You know, there is also that. I'm not saying like it would have been like completely passable in 2010 or whatever, but 2010 it would have probably survived longer than 1987. You know, sometimes it's about time frame. The context of the episode itself, just like, that's one thing, but the timing on top of that is just another thing completely. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'm curious, especially if I don't know if I got any Japanese viewers, because most of my reactions get blocked in Japan. So I don't know how many Japanese viewers I actually got. But obviously these reviews are not blocked in Japan. So I'm just curious to know what Japanese viewers think, if there are any. I think there are some, but it's just not many, because, like, again, most of my reaction videos, which is my popular content on this channel, most of them are blocked in Japan. So it's just like, it's harder to reach that audience, even though the show's literally from there. So, but I'm just curious to get their opinions, what they think. Like, should it have been banned, or like, what do you actually think of the episode as well? And like, Yeah, just stuff like that. I don't really know what to ask really, but just I just like to know your thoughts in the episode, basically, and everyone, not just Japanese people, but just everybody. But I'm just curious, on top of that, to just get perspective from Japanese people, because I've never actually talked to a Japanese person about Ultraman related to anything. So I don't know any Japanese people for a start. So how could I talk to them? But I'm curious to know their opinions about this. But yeah. That's all I got to say, really. As a story, it was good, but obviously there's other themes that do bring it down. But that was an interesting episode to watch. That is for sure. Interesting is one way to put it. That is one way to put it. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to review episode 13 next week. This is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time where